There's a lot of advice out there about anxiety, especially for young people. Anxious people need to do breath work. We need to meditate more. Repeat positive affirmations. And while those practices can help in the moment, the truth is, for many, they don't work. At least not in any lasting way. I think this is because we now use the word anxiety to describe two different things. There's the surface-level anxiety, fear of answering the phone, nervousness in social situations. But there's also a deeper kind of anxiety, the ambient, all-encompassing kind. The type that stems from not knowing what path to take in life, constantly doubting yourself, agonizing over every choice. A neurotic paralysis, rooted not in a chemical imbalance or momentary stress, but in a kind of moral disorientation. That's the anxiety young people seem to mean when they say they feel overwhelmed and lost. And for that kind of anxiety, mainstream advice falls short. Meditation won't save you if you're morally lost. Affirmations can't override the discomfort of living in contradiction with your values. Breathwork may calm your body, but it won't quiet a conscience that's been ignored or misdirected. These practices aren't meaningless, but they're not enough. They're tools, not direction. They help only when you know where you're headed, and increasingly we don't. Because the anxiety isn't just about how we feel, it's about how we live. The answer isn't to relax more, it's to realign ourselves, to act rightly, to live by a moral code. This is the missing piece in so much of modern mental health advice. We're told to analyze our relationships, our past, our patterns. Rarely are we asked to examine our own character. We're urged to love ourselves, but not to become someone worth loving. Self-development has become a checklist of wellness habits, not an honest pursuit of virtue. Live authentically has become a branding slogan, not a call to integrity. So much of what we're told is inward-facing. Set boundaries. Protect your peace. Do what feels good. And while there's a place for these things, they can't be the foundation of a fulfilling life. You can't navigate a complex, morally ambiguous world with only your preferences as a compass. You can't build meaningful relationships if everyone's idea of right and wrong is custom-built and constantly shifting. We've replaced morals with boundaries, as if that's a fair trade. But boundaries are often just personalized fences, lines we draw to avoid pain, not principles we live by to create meaning. They close us off, rather than draw us towards something greater. And when everyone sets their own standards, chaos follows. We end up in relationships where basic decency has to be explained. In friendships where commitment feels threatening. In a culture where judgment is forbidden, and so is guidance. We tell ourselves we're empowered because we've customized our lives. But then we find ourselves on forums asking strangers what counts as betrayal, or whether we're allowed to feel hurt. The truth is, without shared values, we are lost. Not just from each other, but from ourselves. The absence of moral guidance leaves a vacuum. And into that vacuum rush all the voices of the world. Influencers, corporations, social trends. When parents won't guide us, when schools won't teach us right from wrong, when therapists are afraid to challenge us, we are left to be shaped by marketing, algorithms, and vague appeals to personal truth. And so we become insecure, not because something is wrong with us, but because nothing around us feels secure. Security is not a flaw. It's a rational response to a world without firm ground. A world where no one tells us what to strive for, only what to avoid. where we are taught how to say no, but never how to say yes to something noble, where freedom means detachment, not direction. That's why meditation and affirmations, helpful as they can be, are no substitute for moral clarity. You can quiet your mind, but if your life lacks direction, the quiet won't last. You can say you love yourself, but if your actions contradict your values, your spirit won't believe it. Anxiety returns when there's no inner coherence. But when you begin to live by a moral code, when you choose honesty over convenience, loyalty over impulse, virtue over ego, you start to trust yourself. And that trust builds strength. Decisions become clearer. Confusion recedes. Not because life is suddenly simple, but because you are no longer lost in it. You have a compass, a direction. Living morally doesn't guarantee ease, but it grants integrity. It draws the right people to you. It helps you walk away from what corrupts you. Not because it hurts your feelings, but because it insults your soul. You don't need to obsess over boundaries when you already know what you stand for. You don't need to script conversations when you can recognize character. And maybe that's the deepest kind of self-respect. Not loudly declaring your worth, but living in a way that never compromises it. Not needing constant affirmation because your actions already align with who you claim to be. That's what builds real self-love, not pampering but principle. The modern idea of strength is often about detachment. Don't care too much. Don't let anyone in. Don't get hurt. But real strength is having something worth caring about, something worth protecting. It's feeling things deeply and still choosing what is right. And that requires a framework, one that doesn't change with trends or feelings. A moral framework that orients your life. So yes, meditate if it helps you. Repeat your affirmations. Do your breath work, but don't let them distract you from the real work. Deciding what kind of person you want to be. Not what makes you feel good, but what makes you good. Not just what you're trying to avoid, but what you're trying to become. We don't just need to calm our minds. We need to clear our consciences. We need to act with conviction. We need something to live by. Not just for ourselves, but for the people we'll influence, the relationships we'll shape, the world we'll leave behind. Boundaries matter, but they're not the destination. Values are, and only by walking toward them do we find any real peace of mind. Not just temporary relief, but the kind that lingers, the kind that guides, the kind that lasts.